Hi, guys. My name is Kalilah Wright of Mess in a Bottle, and you are listening to Dreams and Drive.
Hey, this is Raina Campbell, your Chief Dream Driver, and welcome to the No Parking Podcast, where through conversations and discussions with creators like yourself, we'll find interesting approaches to help you take your dreams out of park, put them in drive, and ride towards success. Hey, Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 185 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. And on this episode, we are going to dive into how Kalilah Wright, founder and CEO of Mess in a Bottle, embraced the power of innovation and the power of the pivot in her career and business. We are going to talk about why she quit her, I want to say dream job or a dream job, working as an architect for Under Armour to launch into entrepreneurship full time. In January 2016, she launched Mess in a Bottle. The company sells creative messages written on t-shirts and packaged in reusable bottles. The brand, though, was inspired to evoke change and question Kalilah's audience and allow individuals to wear their messages to be vocal without saying anything at all. And what's unique about the brand is that each item is designed and printed at her Baltimore in-house studio space. So Kalilah is going to share her dream driving journey and bring us along for the challenges, successes, and learning moments along the way. So if you guys love this episode, please make sure to share on social. You can find us across the board at Dreams and Drive on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can also use the hashtag Dreams and Drive when you're sharing as well. And make sure you are subscribed wherever you're listening, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, your favorite audio app. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you get notifications every time we have a new episode. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating and a review. I love it when you guys are leaving reviews. I'm going to give a shout out to Beepster25. She left a review that said, "So refreshing. I don't usually take the time to write a review, but I had to make an exception. I absolutely loved how you interviewed someone at the very beginning of her business. I'm just starting out, and it's great hearing from people about where you want to be in the future, but it really helps hearing from people in the same place you are. Makes you feel like you're not alone. Keep up the great work." Well, thanks, Beepster25. I wonder what episode that was. But you guys, I really love seeing your reviews, and they also help other people who are looking through iTunes or Apple Podcasts and trying to find a show. So please help us with those ratings, and you may even hear your review heard on the next episode of Dreams and Drive. Before we get into the episode, please remember we still have Dreams and Drive gear available. If you want a t-shirt, hoodie, or crew neck, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/shop. All right, let's hear from Kalilah. You know, one of the things I love when we're talking to our guests is to go back in time, right? Like, where did it all start? So if I had to say, what was inspiring you as a child, how would you respond?
I was just inspired by Brooklyn. I was born in Jamaica, West Indies, and I grew up in Brooklyn. And I think Brooklyn just gave me a lot of drive and a lot of, it forced me to kind of become someone. I didn't want to truly be a product of my environment, but it really inspired me to just be great.
What age were you when you came to America?
I was 4.
Okay. Because my parents are Jamaican, so, big up,
Right, so you understand.
Yeah, the Caribbean hustle mentality. Did you have any, were you a child entrepreneur? Because I feel like a lot of my friends growing up, we all kind of had little side hustles of some sort.
Well, I was, I didn't realize, of course, that I was an entrepreneur till later on. But, I remember in junior high school, I was the leader of the Cool Club, I think I called it. And I made all these laminated cards, and you had to be a part, and you had to bring certain snacks to be in. And so I was just I didn't realize until now that I was always a leader and a person that was, doing things like that and really starting to become my own boss.
Yeah, that is something that I think a lot of us, we don't realize that there were certain skills that we possessed at that age, right? If you, looking back at who you were as a child, what do you think was one of your biggest strengths?
I think the fact that I've always been fearless, and as a kid, I would always try new things. I think that's my biggest strength, no matter if, no matter if I wasn't really aware of what it is and like versed on how to do it, I would still like always try. So that's something that has, now I've adapted as an adult.
So why the decision to study architecture in college?
I went to art and design high school, and all of the girls at my high school, they were all doing fashion design. And though I love fashion and fashion has become a big part of like my art, I just wanted to be different. And not a lot of girls are doing architecture. So I adapted in high school. I went into architecture. I just wanted to be different, and that was my way.
Did you like it though? So I know you wanted to be different, but did you end up loving what architecture meant and what you could do with it as a career?
I did. I love architecture. Still do. I love buildings, love interior design. So it was great for me. It taught me a lot. Architecture taught me how to be a designer.
I can't draw really. I mean, I could draw like stick figures, kinda. I could draw faces a little bit. But to be a good architect, what's something that you really have to be in tune with?
I think just really being able to graphically, see a building or get inspired to design, and then also like the construction part of it. So I think for architecture, you have to be a great designer, but you also have to understand like structures and wind loads and really understand the engineering component of how a building is put together.
So you ended up working at Under Armour. What were you doing there?
I was doing store planning and design. So I was creating and designing some of the stores at Under Armour.
What did you learn about corporate culture?
That I didn't want to be a part.
Why do you say that?
No, I'm just saying, it's just a whole bunch of, there's just hierarchy and there's, a lot of politics. I think Under Armour really taught me, just how to structure a company. And it was really great to watch. Kevin Plank, who's the owner of Under Armour, he went from really not having anything to then now developing, this billion-dollar company. And I thought that was really, really cool. And it forced me where I felt like I wanted to be a leader like that, and I wanted to create my own billion-dollar company.
I feel like that's one of the things. I recently quit my job working in corporate America, but one of the things I will say is I was glad that I had that experience, because there's so many things that it taught me about, as you said, what it takes to run a company, and also things I would not do when I have my own, right? So why did you quit? What was the impetus for you, saying bye Under Armour?
I think that I was just ready to develop my own, and I wanted to establish my own company, and I felt like it was time. And so that's what I did.
So let's talk a little bit about launching Mess in a Bottle.
Okay.
What's the origin story? How did you get this idea to make T-shirts and put them in these craft bottles? In these, craft bottles, sorry, in glass bottles.
They originally came in glass bottles. We no longer use glass bottles. But I was one day sitting at my desk at Under Armour, and I was already creating my T-shirts with messages. And this was the time of the Freddie Gray riots. Baltimore itself was really in an uproar. It was sad because of this young man being killed while in police custody. So it was a tough time for the city of Baltimore, and I felt like a lot of people didn't have a voice. So I wanted to give a voice to the voiceless, and Mess in a Bottle was really birthed where I was sitting at work, and a Chance the Rapper album came on the screen, and the album was an album called Surf, and it was a message in a bottle, and I just really ran with it, and I knew I had something, and so that's how I developed the company, and I started putting T-shirts in a bottle.
So you already had this design experience, so you knew how to make the design files and get them on the shirt. What was the biggest struggle though for you in launching the business in the early days?
I think that the biggest struggle was probably just really developing a company, forming a team. I think that those things are really difficult as you try to do everything yourself, for limited resources. But as drive at it and, if it's something that you really want, you make it happen.
When was the moment that you knew, how when you start a business and everyone's kind of excited, right? You have this idea, you have a few customers, but when was the moment for you where you realized that, wow, this could be bigger than I even imagined in the beginning?
when, like no matter where I would go to show my products, a lot of people gravitated towards it, no matter their age, their race, their gender, their nationality. They all loved the messages. So I think that really helped. And it just really instilled in me like, oh, wow, a lot of people love this. And it just made me really feel like I had something.
At that moment in time, were you only doing T-shirts, or did you also have like other products in your offering?
I mean, we started out mainly with T-shirts, and then we gradually expanded.
How were you choosing the actual phrases and messages that you were putting on your shirts?
I just come up with them, like whatever I feel, whatever's going on in politics, and whatever's going on around us is what I end up creating a message for.
One of the things that I know, so in my previous job, I used to work in ECommerce Logistics, right? So working on like e-commerce fulfillment and all that stuff. And it can be a total headache, right? There's a lot of things that running an online business, you don't know until you are in the midst of it. What do you think would be like 3 things that you think anybody who's running an e-commerce online business really needs to have tight in order to succeed?
Well, one of the things is to hire people who support your weaknesses. So for me, I try to hire people who are more, strategic. I'm more, art. So I'm more the design, driven. So I try to hire people who are more strategy driven and more organized so that they can support the places that I'm weak. I think also don't be afraid to sort of go in different directions, like depending on which way your business is pulling you. Don't be afraid to, let go of like your original or initial thought and let the business pull you in a direction that you're probably supposed to go towards. And also, I think the biggest thing is listening to your team and trusting them. So that's something that like I'm really starting to learn now is to like trust and let my team help to lead this business.
Can you give an example of when listening to your team was beneficial for you?
So I think a good example is, with our Army Queen jackets. A person on my team said, I think this would look really good in pink. We have a jacket and it says, Queen, don't be afraid to rule like a king. And at first I really wanted to use white was the only color offered initially because I felt like white really was a neutral color and it wasn't something that everyone, like if you weren't a girly girl who wanted pink, I figured that the white was really good. But surprisingly enough, the minute I did pink and one of the employees recommended doing pink, and the minute we did it, we sold out. And pink has been like one of the colors ever since that everyone gravitates towards. I think that if I didn't listen to my team, I wouldn't have gotten there.
Was that the one that Serena Williams wore?
It is. Yep.
See, that's so amazing. How did that opportunity, how did that come about? Like, how did you get Serena Williams in your jacket?
Well, one of our followers / amazing friends, her name is Lazoma St. John. She used to be the chief brand officer of Uber, and she is a great friend of Mess in a Bottle, and she wore our Army Queen jacket to Coachella. And when she did that, Serena Williams saw it, and she went to the website, and she ordered for everyone in her family.
That's really, really cool. So did you guys see a spike after that opportunity came about? Like, did you get more orders following her showing her jacket online too?
Yeah, we did see, a bit of a spike, but I think that that's one of the things that people, you think that you're going to see this major haul in people, and you may not. It might just be a gradual, a gradual thing where people recognize your company and they start to shop and buy for you. So I think it's gradual. It's not this big, oh my God, we have 5,000 orders of jackets. No.
I think that's like a big misconception that comes with just getting press, right? Like sometimes good press doesn't always, translate into, you never have to work to get a sale again, right? A lot of people think,
Right.
I get Kylie Jenner wearing my lip gloss and now I'm going to be that doesn't always work. Was there another misconception about business that you learned in these stages of building Mess in a Bottle?
I think a misconception is definitely the media and like with celebrities. I think that people really think that just because, or people, influencers, they refer to them as influencers. I think that people think that if influencers, see your product, that immediately, their consumers are going to like buy it and that you guys are going to sell out. And I think depending on the influencers, sometimes they have that impact. But it's not that easy. And you have to have like marketing strategies in place to really make sure that you sustain that influx of that, immediate, oh my God, I want to support this brand. Mm-hmm. And so I think a lot of people get that really confused.
Marketing strategies. I love that you mentioned that because I think that's something that creative entrepreneurs sometimes shy away from because it may not be their forte. What strategy do you think really helped you in building your audience, getting sales, and making sure you're having consistent sales?
I think some of the strategies, we look at what people are loving. We try to really look at like what people are most, proud to wear, and we just really, we help to capitalize off of that, make campaigns around things like that, and we just keep it going.
Was there ever a product that you had to pull because nobody wanted it, but you really thought that it was going to be like really good?
Let me think. I mean, we had a couple like that. I did like a Kanye West shirt. Oh, you know what? No, the best example I have of that is we had a shirt from Beyonce stuck on my balls, and like we had some like cups as well. But for some reason, it just really did not sell. And
but you said stuck on my balls?
Uh-huh.
Wait, is that a song?
Well, Beyonce did it in the Coachella, her Coachella performance.
Okay.
And it was really big. So I don't know if it was one of those where because, it's a little sexual that it was like a bit much for some people. We've had people who loved it and laughed and, and bought the cups and but I think maybe the shirt was a bit much. So that was one. And even like a Kanye West, we weren't saying, we had one that says, where in the world is like Kanye West or something. And again, I think because of just the controversy, some people were, they didn't, it didn't really sell that well, but it happens. It definitely happens.
How do you manage that unsold inventory?
Well, we make everything in-house, so we really don't have unsold inventory like that.
Okay, so you like make it, so it's not like you're making it, it's not like you're making 100 and you're selling 100, you're making them as the orders come in?
Yep.
Okay, well that's a good business model. I feel like especially in the merchandise business, a lot of people can get screwed over because they're not able to move their inventory, right?
Right.
Yeah, I know even with Dreams and Drive I did like I don't know what I was thinking. I did a huge I did like wholesaling. So I bought a whole bunch of like t-shirts and got them printed, in mass. And I just thought I was going to be able to sell them all. And I'm like, Raina, why were you doing such a big run in the beginning? It's better to go small and then to replenish as more orders come in. So that's something I've learned.
Yeah, a lot of people have that misconception.
So I was following you guys during the summer during Essence Fest, right? And let's talk about this vending machine, right? I love the concept. Why did you choose to invest in it? And what was the payoff for you? Like, what did you see from that whole ordeal? Maybe you can give our listeners a little synopsis of the vending machine story.
I mean, I've always wanted to create, like with the idea of creating a t-shirt in a bottle, mm-hmm. I wanted to create a vending machine. And our goal is to really be able to give people accessibility to sell, to be able to sell Mess in a Bottle anywhere you are in the world. So whether it's at an airport, hospital, at a baseball game, basketball game, I want to be able to have like these Mess in a Bottle machines that you can buy memorabilia in a bottle. And we launched our first vending machine at Essence Music Festival in New Orleans. And it was an amazing experience, a great return on my investment. And we drove the machine all the way from Baltimore to New Orleans. And it was an excellent experience. People really loved the fact that the T-shirts would be sold in a reusable bottle in a vending machine.
Yeah, I think that's so innovative, right? Like, you don't see any other companies doing that. And I think as dream drivers, we have to find ways to be innovative, because I know a lot of people were just tuning in, even if they weren't at Essence Fest. Like, I wasn't there, but I was tuning in to see, all right, what's the update this week? Or what's the update today? Did they reach on time? All that stuff.
Right.
Looking back at that experience, though, was there something you would have done differently?
No, because I think driving it down was a big, I didn't know how that would turn out. And, but it was great. It was a great opportunity to show our followers and fans that, we can, we could all, because I had two other women that were on my team and we all drove down together. So I think this was a great opportunity for our followers to just really follow our journey. So there's not too much that I would do differently. It was an amazing experience, and I would definitely do it again.
Just recently, this past Sunday, you ran the New York City Marathon, right?
Yes, I did.
Congratulations. The longest I've ever run, I used to be in cross country back in high school, but I wasn't really a cross country athlete. I was just doing it because I ran track in the spring. So the longest I've ever run was 8 miles. So 26.2 miles. That's a lot. What inspired you to want to run a marathon?
I just really wanted to do something that I haven't done before, and I just like really challenging myself, giving myself new goals, and really trying to do things that I think at times seem impossible.
Mm-hmm. How long did you give yourself to prepare for it?
About a couple of months, about 3 months or so, and it was good.
Okay. So let's talk us through race day. Talk us through race day. I think that as an entrepreneur, right, there are a lot of things. I know you had on your Instagram, you had a list of lessons that you learned. There were a lot of things that you learned by running that race. During race day, what was your mindset before starting?
I think my mindset was just to finish.
Mm-hmm.
And on race day, I ended up losing my phone. I got a bit injured and I wasn't feeling too great. But, I just held fast to what I was there to accomplish. And it just reminded me, you don't need a phone. You don't need to connect to the outside world. You can just really focus and pull in on your inner strength and keep going. And that's what I did. And all over, I saw, signs that said just keep going. And I think that has been one of my biggest mottos, is just no matter what, keep going, and, you can do this. And
don't you guys have a shirt that says, just keep going, sign the universe?
We do. It says be great today, signs the universe.
Okay.
But we also have one that says just keep going.
Did you ever find your phone? So I guess, I just wonder,
Yeah, I did. I ended up someone found it and returned it, and it was great.
Okay, that's good. What do you think is the hardest part about running a marathon, though? And liken it to being an entrepreneur, was there something that you learned during that race that you also think entrepreneurs, creatives could relate to?
I think the biggest part is just really keeping focus and not being pulled off track. I think that most of the times, obstacles will occur, and it's up to you to really focus, not let it pull you off, and and keep on that path. I think most of the times as creatives, if things aren't going right, sometimes we want to switch it up and change it around, and not realizing that we just have to keep going. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I learned, is to listen to your inner self and just really, keep going.
One of the things, Kalilah, that I love about your story is how you started Mess in a Bottle without, you didn't have a lot of capital starting, right? And something that you've mentioned is that you don't necessarily need a lot of money in order to build a business. What advice would you give to that dream driver who's debating, like, how should they approach funding in the beginning days?
I would just really recommend to start, whether is, if you have to raise capital, depending on what your business is, start, do that. Like, I think too many times we worry about those coulda, shouldas, and we try to say, okay, well, I don't have enough money, I can't do this. I think that the main thing is just to start, and then things will fall into place.
Scaling, that's also something that a lot of people are interested in, right? You've been in business for 2 years. Year 3, what's your approach to how you're going to grow the brand?
By stepping away from being in production and working in my business and start working on my business. That's my biggest transition for year 3.
So how does that look like? Maybe give us some examples for what are some things you as the founder, CEO, like what does that actually mean for you in your business?
I have a studio shop where, I come here probably 5 days a week when I'm not traveling. And so I want to step outside of that and really trust my employees and possibly hire people in different places to help manage and run production and to really trust my team. That way I could help grow the business.
I was listening to a podcast that you did. I forgot the name of the host, but you talk about the time that you met Mark Cuban.
The Harry Connick Jr. show.
What was the advice Mark Cuban gave you?
Well, we are hoping in 2020 to expand to beveraging. And Mark Cuban told us that, to definitely wait, let people really know who the brand is, what the brand is, and then expand from there. So, that's something that we took and we are listening to, and we are continuing to expand. And when it's time, we'll be going into beveraging.
Oh, so you'd have like unique messing up. Like, would it be a different brand or would it be like a subset of this brand?
Nope, it'll be less in a bottle as well.
Okay, that would be cool. You got to do some Jamaican drinks. I love Ting. I would love, what other Jamaican drinks are there? I don't like sorrel. I don't like that. Like the shandies and all that stuff. Sorrel is not my thing. One of the big debates, or not even debates, one of the big things I've noticed just in my 2 months of being a full-time entrepreneur is that those moments where you're taking care of yourself are super important. So what are things that you do or you put into your schedule to make sure that you're keeping sane and you're keeping aligned?
I honor how I feel. So, if I feel like not being, like doing some type of activity, I try to really honor that and really focus on that. So I don't, and that's something I had to learn, and it took me some time. And it's still something I'm working on. But if it doesn't feel right, I just don't do it.
Yeah, if it doesn't feel right, you don't do it. I think, especially as a newbie entrepreneur, it can be so alluring to take a deal because it seemed like a good deal. Was there ever something that you had to turn down because it just didn't sit well with you?
I mean, there's many people want to do a lot of like collaborations now that we have, started to really, I guess get popular a bit. Mm-hmm. And for me, I just don't take on all of that. Like, it has to be, my heart has to be in it for me to do it.
As of the end of 2018, what is the biggest challenge that Mess in a Bottle is facing today, and how's your team working through that?
Right now, I think our biggest battle is just working as a team and also just really trying to figure out, how to transition into growing. And, so as a team, we just really try to connect weekly and just make sure that we are working together and taking different things that we've learned from different jobs, different places, and really try to implement them within our business.
Mm-hmm. And then personally, as an entrepreneur, what are some personal things that you're working on just when it comes to personal development or even business development as well?
I think for me, I'm just working on my leadership skills and really focused on, as I expand and as the company grows, like being a great, efficient leader. So that's something that I've been really focused on.
Have there been any particular resources that have been helpful to you in growing your business?
Just leaning on different mentors have really been great. And I also did a program called Beacon. It's the Baltimore Creative Accelerator Network, and that has been a great resource for me.
Last thing, let's talk about money a little bit more. I love that you have multiple revenue streams. You have your online course. Do you still offer that to people?
I do.
Yeah. Why do you think it's so important as dream drivers that you diversify the different revenue you have, even if one revenue stream is pretty consistent, such as the t-shirt sales?
I think that it just expands. It allows for people to be exposed to me in different ways. And, you know, they say that people will pay you more for what you know than what you do. And I found that to be very true. Like, people are really invested in knowing how to start their own company, and I just want to assist them in doing so.
And what has been the response to you having that course?
It's been excellent. People really enjoy it.
And thinking about your own dream driving journey, what do you think, or who's been in your passenger seat? Who is that person, or who is the group of people that you really lean on as a support system, and why are they so crucial to who you are?
You know, I really lean on like my friends, family, and you know, I have people who are like who volunteer for me. My social media community has been excellent to me as well. So I wouldn't say there's any particular person, but I've had a lot of people just really have my back. And it's been amazing where different mentors also have, you know, they've come out and they're like, you know, however I can help, I want to help. And that's been amazing as well. And, you know, these people do it without any cost. So it's been really great.
I love that you talk about mentors, just because I feel like a lot of people nowadays want mentors, but they don't. Like, you know how it's more, I feel like the best mentors are the ones that are organic, right? Like, what would you say? Let's say somebody wanted you to be their mentor. How would you say someone should approach getting a mentor in 2018?
I think it just really depends, because even though, you know, some people really genuinely don't have the availability for a mentor, so I think that, or a mentee. So I think just really seeing, like, you know, I have a young lady now, and, you know, I wasn't available for mentorship, but she just asked, you know, can she come into my shop 2 days a week and, you know, and learn from me? And I was like, of course, you need the help, and this will be helpful for you. And she does that now, and I think something like that is just amazing, like seeing what you can do for the person and not only what they can do for you.
Yep, that is so important. And how do you balance all of this and you're a mom? This, you know, it's so amazing all that you are able to accomplish, and you're also a mom. Like, what tips would you have for the other working moms, entrepreneurs out there?
You know, just finding balance and getting help where you need it. So if that means that you might have to have a babysitter, if that means that you have to, like, you know, have dinners pre-made, whatever it is, do it, and just be okay with that. Like, you know, don't beat yourself up and feel like a bad mom. Like, get in where you fit in and do what you can. You
have a son, right?
I do.
What does he think about Mess in a Bottle?
Oh, he thinks he's the co-founder. And
really? Does he ever give you ideas for t-shirts?
Not really, but he does inspire me to do things. So I think that he really is a part of, you know, the bigger picture for me. So, you know, I love it.
And when you feel like giving up, what keeps you going?
I think my inner drive, just knowing that I'm bigger than the issue that I'm having today, you know? And so I think my inner drive just really reminds me, like, just keep going. You've had worse, and I just keep my head down, and sometimes, you know, zone out, plug out, and recharge. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kalilah. Let's go to our lightning round, okay? So this part of the interview, I'm going to give you a prompt, and I want you to just tell me the first word that comes to mind.
Okay.
The first word is park.
Green.
Reverse.
Drive.
Neutral.
Steady.
Drive.
Fast.
And if you want to be a dream driver, you have to have your keys to success. So can you tell me 3 things that you think every dream driver needs in their toolkit before they hit the road?
You need to make sure that you have patience. Put that in your toolkit and keep it in there because you're going to have to open it up and have it a couple times. You need it for, patience for yourself, patience for people around you, and patience for your business. You need to allow it to grow and do what it's going to do. Inside the kit, I would say that you should also have, your creativity. Make sure that you're always thinking ahead of the box and that you are outside of the box and that you are continuing to, really pull at your creativity and be sure to allow for your creativity to expand within, what you're trying to create. And lastly, I would say in your box, you're going to want to have a team, good people around you.
Mm-hmm.
You need for them to tell you when you're effing up and not doing a great job, or and you need honest people who are going to not just be yes men, but people who really care about you.
Yeah, you've mentioned your team a lot during this interview, so I think that it's inspiring to me because that's something that I know I need to work on too in order to scale. So just hearing you talk about how important your team is and how much you appreciate and value them is really, really inspiring and really encouraging.
Okay, nice. Thank you.
So can you tell our dream drivers where they can find you online, if they want to connect more, if they want to get a t-shirt?
You can find us at www.messinabottle.com.
All right. And on social media?
On Instagram and on Facebook and Twitter, it's all Mess in a Bottle.
All right. And when you hear the word dream driver, Kalilah, what comes to mind? How would you describe what being a dream driver means?
I think being a dream driver is a person who is not afraid to put the car and go and to chase their dreams.
All right, so that's a wrap for episode 185 with Kalilah Wright. I hope you enjoyed her dream driving journey and her keys to success. If you love this episode, please, please, please screenshot it and share it with a friend, whether it's via text, whether it's via Instagram stories, Instagram posts, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you are being social, please be social and share this. I depend on you guys every week to get our ratings up, to get our viewership up, and to just grow the Dreams and Drive community. So everything you do to share it, I'm really, really appreciative of it. If you're not already part of our Dreams and Drive Facebook group, you can always join. You can simply search Dream Driver Mastermind the next time you're logged on to Facebook, or you can just go to dreamsanddrive.com/Facebook to sign up and request access. If you haven't subscribed already, this is your first time and you enjoyed the show, hit that subscribe button so you get notifications every time we have a new episode. And if you really want to do us a favor, please, please, please leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or iTunes. I really appreciate going in and seeing what you guys are thinking about the show. A few notes: Dreams and Drive gear is available at dreamsanddrive.com/shop. If you want to shop our bookstore and, pick up some of the books that we've mentioned on these episodes this year, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/bookstore. And if you want to sign up for our weekly newsletter, The Keys, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. So this is the last week of 2018, guys. I really hope that you all are really thinking about what you're going to big chop in 2019. We talked about that in episode 184. I talked about bringing that big chop mentality into 2019. So I really, really hope that you guys are focusing on how you want 2019 to look for you and putting in all the things that you need to put into place so that can happen. All right, keep dreaming, keep driving. Happy holidays, happy new year. If I don't talk to you before then, bye guys.